right. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Hope Shot. We are live Wednesday night for our Addiction to Success, and we have Alex telling her story tonight. Um, please, everybody, as you're tuning in, please share the feed and comment, let us know you're here. We love to hear from you guys. And let me see, I want to go ahead and introduce Bethany. And she's going to do the intro for Alex. Oh, I almost messed up. Hold on. I got to read the clarity statement first. I'm really good at forgetting that thing. So, the Hope Shot clarity statement. We here at the Hope Shot are a group of people in recovery, spreading inspiration. We come from all different walks of life and pathways of recovery. Our verbiage may be different at times, but we all have one thing in common: recovery as a lifestyle. We support all pathways of recovery. It doesn't matter how you get from A to Z, just get there. Thank you for being a part of our family. And without further ado, here is Bethany.
Hey, hi, my name's Bethany. I am here to introduce my friend Alex. She's going to tell her story tonight. How I met Alex. I had just gotten out of treatment, and one of my friends brought me to a meeting, and I didn't have a lot of faith in meetings, and I was feeling pretty, I don't know, not real good about being there. And I was sitting at a table by myself and feeling like I probably wasn't going to fit in there in the whole idea of meetings, period. And this girl walked up to me. And the first thing I saw was this big, giant Buddha tattoo. Oh my God, maybe I'm going to fit in here. And she walked over and she hugged me. And Alex. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So the first person that I met in my home group was Alex. And that's kind of how I learned what fellowship was and how it grew was with Alex. And you're going to hear her story, and I can tell you about how she is now. She is a mom. She's a great mom. And she doesn't just do the whole, let's get our kids to school and let's get them things. She really tries to do, let's instill goodness and kindness and strength in the kids. She's a great mom, and she's a wife, and she loves her husband, and she's very loyal, and she's great with her husband. And I can attest those things, but not great. What I can attest to is her as a friend. And who Alex is as a friend is that friend that tells it like it is. Not that you always want to hear how it is, but that's what she does. And you say something, and then she gives you that look, and you're like, oh, God. And she says something, and it's not always what you want to hear, but eventually you realize it's exactly what you need to hear. But that's not the best thing about Alex. The best thing about Alex is like when you have a really hard time with something, and you may not even know that you're having a hard time with something, she'll stop everything. And she's always got a lot going on because she's got all kinds of stuff in her life with her kids and her husband, and they own a business and they have a studio. Huge full life. But she will stop everything, and she will come over and she'll sit with you until 11, 12, 1 at night, and she'll help you solve your problem. I mean, she'll really show up for you. That's who Alex is now. She's somebody that will show up for you and be there for you. And she's just really something. And so when you hear her story, I mean, just think that now she is. She's a wife and a mother and a friend, like an amazing friend, just somebody who's there for you. And that's Alex. So, Alex, let's hear your story.
Thank you, Bethany.
Got
Wow.
a bunch of support in the comments. I just want to tell you, I'm putting them up. Yeah, I want to give you a little hype before you start telling the story. So you've got Maddie Johnson on here saying, hey, tuning in from New Hampshire. Melissa Green, I love you girls. You got Katie Dalton saying hi, Bethany. You got somebody from Canada shouting out. Who do we got from Canada? I'm putting them all. I'm sorry. I'm trying to read them fast because I don't want to mess you up. You got Katie Dalton. Hi, Alex. Love you and Bethany. Love that tat. You've got Linda Stevens. You got this, Alex. Love you. I mean, it just keeps going. You got a bunch. Thing says hello. She's a regular viewer. On and on. So we're going to have a lot to read at the end. So excited to hear from you. So now the floor is yours.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Bethany, for introducing me. It's still hard to believe that, like, that's who I am today. My name's Alex, and I'm a person in long-term recovery. So I'm 31 years old, and I'll have 4 years on December 22nd of this year. And that's crazy for someone like me that, like that, who I was and who I am today, So who I was or what happened to get me to who I am today. I was born July 13th, 1990. I was actually born on Friday the 13th. Oh my God, my brother. So I was born on Friday the 13th, which is like, a super cool day. So my whole life I thought I was special. And you can tell how my name is spelled, Alecs. So, I always thought I was unique and whatever. I always thought I was special. Well, I come from divorced parents. Mom and dad split up. She was a single parent for a while. And I had my older brother, Ryan, and we were the closest siblings. We were the only siblings at that time. And I absolutely idolized him. He was the coolest person in my life, and I wanted to be just like him. So I don't really remember much from like real young. I know that my stepmother and my dad, they have been together since as long as I can remember. And I know that I really believe in my heart that I don't think I would have a relationship with my dad if it wasn't for my stepmom. And she was a huge part of my life, and so growing up, I was spoiled rotten by my grandmother. She never told me no. I was like, we weren't rich or anything like that, but my Grammy, I was her favorite grandchild, and she never told me no. And we would skip school on income tax day and go shopping. And we still say to this day, like, that she ruined me for any man out there. So sorry to my husband. Blame Grammy. No. So anyway, so I met, my mom met my stepdad when I was 6. That's really when, I remember things from. And so she met my stepdad, and he was great. He owned a business. He had money. We moved in shortly after there, and life was great. I was a cheerleader. My brother played football. I wanted to be an actress when I was little. I was always like, had to be like the center of attention, like, look at me. And so I would literally like stand in front of the television and practice my cheers while my parents were trying to like watch TV at night. And I still to this day do that to my husband. I stand in front of the TV and talk to him. So yeah. But at 6 years old, I found out that I had another brother from my dad's side. So I had another brother that I had never met, didn't know about or anything. So I got to meet him, which was pretty cool. It was like, oh, wow, I have this other brother. That's pretty cool, whatever. Well, there wasn't really any like childhood trauma to say. but there was at the same time, if that makes sense. So my brother Patrick, that I had only got to know for, a short time, he came down here. He lived up in New York, and I got to go up there a couple times, and he came down here, blah, blah, blah. He committed suicide when I was 11. So that was like, oh, I remember getting the phone call, from my stepmom, saying like, hey, I want you to come over for dinner. And, that was hard to hear, like somebody taking their own life, like at 11. How do you, how could you kill yourself? Well, I understood it, I understand it now, he was only 18 years old. And so I had issues with my dad, growing up. So before that, my mother and my stepfather, I was the baby, right? And so my mother and stepfather, they wanted another baby, and I was 10. Like, what do you mean you're going to have another kid? Like, I'm the baby. No way. And it really affected me that they had my sister Summer. It did. I know that's like, oh my God, it doesn't seem like that big of a deal, but it affected me. And then my dad and stepmother had another child, Autumn, which I know they're not even related in Summer and Autumn. I don't know. Don't ask me. But so then I wasn't the baby anymore. And so therefore I was now the middle child. And so at this point in my life, my brother Ryan was smoking weed, doing whatever, getting in trouble, went off to a program. So when he went off to a program, I still idolized him. He was still the coolest person in my eyes. And when I was 12, I had cut myself for the first time. And one of my friends told the guidance counselor, so I got big corrected. And I remember going in an ambulance over the Skyway Bridge. I'm in Florida. At the Skyway Bridge, and thinking like, oh my God, what if these doors go open and I just like go zooming down, and that's my fear of the Skyway Bridge. Still to this day, I hate it. So anyway, so I got, it was, that was rough, 12 years old in Manatee Glens, and hearing like these crazy people tell me like they rode their bike to California. And I'm like, what? Oh my God, no way. And so I left there after a couple of days, and my mom, tried getting help, and, oh, let's try some medicine, blah, blah, did the counseling thing, all that. And so by 13, I was definitely smoking weed, drinking, that was where I felt like I fit in, I was like, oh, okay. Like, that feels like where I belong, the first time I got high, and it was just like, I could laugh at anything. It's like, oh, this is hell yeah. Like, this is where I want to be, And so when that happened, my mom watched the movie 13. And I don't know if any of you have ever seen the movie 13 about 13-year-old girls and what they do. Well, it was Valentine's Day, and I was at my friend's house, and I was smoking a lot of weed, and my mom came over, decided to pop up, and I got caught and whatever. So now my mom knew that I was, smoking weed and drinking and stuff. Well, my mom and my stepdad ended up getting divorced. And it had to do with my brother. My stepfather was trying to kick my brother out, and my mom said, nope, you're not doing that. It's his last semester in high school. Hell no, And so they got divorced. She chose her child, over her husband, and which I don't blame her, Well, when that happened, it was like, okay, balls to the wall, because now mom's by herself. And I obviously, smoking and drinking is just the beginning, so then here comes the Xanax and the pain pills and the Vicodin, and I'm just, swallowing pills. I'm a teenager. I'm skipping school all the time. I'm, getting into fist fights, the whole 9 yards, pretty much everybody's story that's listening, I'm sure. So I got arrested my first time because of my mom and brother. I was super messed up on Xanax, and I had been like drinking and stuff. And I came home and I was like out of my mind. And the next morning, I stole my brother's pack of cigarettes, and I went upstairs to get a lighter, and he broke the cigarette, the last cigarette. He broke it in half. Like, how dare he break his pack of cigarettes that I stole? You know, the last one in half. How dare you do that, jerk? You know, so, and my mom called the cops because I punched him. Okay, I know I punched him in the arm, and my mom had nails. I didn't. She scratched his arm, called the cops. I go to jail. Or, well, I, got arrested, whatever. So I ended up having to do these outpatient drug classes at 14 years old. And I failed every single drug test. I could not stay clean off weed, and pills, whatever. So I ended up an inpatient. At 15, I was an inpatient. I did 7 months, got out, same shit, skipping school, didn't want anything to do with any type of other life. Like, this was who I was. Like, that lifestyle is who I was. That's who I was. That's where I belong. That's where I fit in. That's where it was, And so at 16, bam, here we go again, back in rehab, And then at 17, at 16, I was living in a hotel room, and I had got addicted to Roxy's. And so now I'm snorting Roxy's every day. I didn't know that, like, you got sick from them, I didn't know, like, if you take Xanax every day for so long and then you stop, like, you can go into what's called a drug-induced psychosis. I had no clue about that. So my 17th birthday, my aunt and my mom threw me, like, this little surprise party type thing, and it was pretty cool. We went to our friend's house and we were drinking. And I remember just drinking and, like, not feeling anything. Like, I was drinking so much and I wasn't getting drunk. And I'm like, what is going on? Like, I was smoking all this weed and nothing was happening. And it was strange. And so I, like, walked to the water, and I was going to just, like, try to kill myself, drown myself, go out as far as I could and just try to drown myself. And it started to rain. And I went back, to my friend's house because it started to rain. What? I was just going to drown myself. What the hell? I don't know. But so there's a reason for that. So I go back to my friend's house, and I call my mom, and I'm like, Mom, something's not right, blah, blah, blah. Well, I end up going home, and I was super paranoid at this point. I thought that my cousins had smoked meth with me in the weed we were smoking. And I ended up going to sleep and woke up, and my mom, I broke her cell phone and my cell phone, and she had made me a Hot Pocket, and I thought she had put meth in the Hot Pocket. Well, my dad, he was adopted. I guess his real dad was paranoid schizophrenic, I think. And so my mom is like, oh my God, she's 17. That's when it hits. Like, she's paranoid schizophrenic. That's what it is. She's crazy. So the cops get called because they're screaming. There's a bunch of, stuff. I'm throwing Hot Pockets, breaking phones. It's crazy in there. You know what I mean? And so the cops come. Well, at this point, my mom is super depressed. We're living in a townhouse, and she was on pills herself. But, I didn't know it. You know what I mean? She wasn't like how I ended up. So therefore, she's outside, she's talking to the cops, she's a wreck, crying, hysterical, and here I come, calm as can be, like, they're like almost going to take her to jail and leave me because she's the one that's, like, hysterical. Well, I'm smoking a cigarette, and the cop says to me, like, you're not even old enough to smoke. And I just looked at him like, shut the fuck up, and he looked at me and he said, do you want to hurt yourself? And I remember looking down at my neighbor's tire, and I just remember saying, like, yeah, after my cigarette, I do. And I was fed up at that point. So I ended up getting Baker acted, of course, and I was begging the nurse, please drug test me. Please, please, please drug test me. I know there's meth in my system, and I didn't do any meth. And she's like, honey, the only thing that's in your system is weed. And I was like, what? Like, something's wrong with my brain, because I'm like, I legitimately thought that I was now paranoid schizophrenic, of course, which I'm not. But it was drug-induced psychosis. And so I went back to the same rehab that I had already been to twice. And I decided I was going to stay sober. And I did. I stayed sober for, I don't know, like 16 to 18 months. But while I was there, detectives came to see me. I had used a fake ID to pawn some jewelry and tried to cash a check, and so they wanted to charge me as an adult. I was at that age. So I got charged as an adult, and I was on adult probation and the tracking unit, and I had to go back to school. So I ended up getting my high school diploma sober, which that was definitely a plus. I moved in with my grandparents. My mom had got sober. So her and I were clean and sober together, and we were best friends, which that was so awesome that we got to do that. Well, then I relapsed, obviously. I'm 18 years old. My dad and stepmother bought me a car for graduating high school and 1 year off doing drugs or whatever. And they bought me a car, and I was like, hell yeah, freedom, and I relapsed. And because I kept hearing all these older people talk about all this crazy stuff that's out there. And I'm like, shit, I'm only 18. You know what I mean? I had those reservations in the back of my mind there, And so therefore I went on a long, hard run. So May of 2009, I got the worst news of my entire life. My mom got diagnosed with lung cancer that had metastasized to the brain. And at this point, I had met this older man. He was 11 years older than me. And he had shot me up for the first time. And that was it. I was in love. I loved the needle. Anything you could break down and put in it, I loved it. So therefore, my mom's dying. I lose my job at Wing House, and so I'm gonna go be a door girl at a strip club. Why not? Well, then they're like, look, you're gonna make this much money as a door girl, and you're gonna make this much money if you dance. And I'm like, well, I love to dance, shit, okay. So I obviously, let's become a stripper. So I did that, and that was insane. This older girl took me under her wing, and my mom's dying, and I'm trying to deal with that. But the only way I'm dealing with that is by doing drugs, and I'm shooting up and I'm drinking at this bar, and this older stripper took me under her wing. Of course, young newbie, knows nothing. I was completely green to the game. I knew absolutely nothing, and she taught me a lot. And so therefore I started learning about sugar daddies. Oh, okay. So you can use old men for money. That's awesome. You know what I mean? Sounds great. So that's what I did. And that fueled my addiction for quite some time. Well, the entire time, to be honest with you. So my mom died. I laid on her dead body for 45 minutes, and I went to go throw up in the bathroom. And I swear to God, I thought it was a God moment, because when hospice is there, they come in and they take all the drugs and they dump them, flush them, whatever. Well, I went to go throw up in the toilet, and I look, and there's the whole hole is filled with OC40s with just the coating off. And I'm like, hell yeah, throw up in the trash can. I'm like, thanks God. You know what I mean? And I left, and that's what I did all day. I shot them up, So at this point, I get evicted from my apartment. I'm dancing, but I'm not really dancing because I'm getting way too fucked up. I'm meeting older men, going to bars, meeting older men, saying, hey, let's hang out, blah, 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 getting money from them. All this stuff that I thought that I would never do, you're entitled to, definitely happened to me. life was insane. And my husband always makes fun of me and laughs at me when I say this, because it's just like the shortened version of like my fucking craziness. Is like, I'm a 25-time convicted felon. I've done 2 years in the county jail, and I've been in prison, you know? So let's talk about, shooting dope was my life. Opiates were my life. Like, that's what I did every single day. I woke up, figured it out. How was I going to get it? How was I going to do it? Like, okay, let's do it. You know, if I had the money, if I had leftover, whatever, like, let's figure it out. I had got my car seized. They found me overdosed in the driver's seat, and they impounded it the first time, and I went to jail. And then I had got caught at the pharmacy window trying to, you know, do a script fraud. Who didn't do that back then? And I went to jail for that, and they took my car. Like, I'm like, what do you mean you're taking my car? You can't take my car from me. And they're like, oh, yeah, we can, honey. We're the law. And they damn sure did. They took it. So I had no car. That sucked. Yeah, so I had been in jail a lot, and life was shitty, you know, but I loved it. I loved every minute of it because I wasn't willing to change. Every time I went to jail, people were like, are you going to stay clean? No, I'm not going to stay clean. I'm getting out, and I'm fucking... what? I am going to shoot some dope as soon as I fucking find some. And that's how it went for a very long time. And so I, me and my brother did like a 7.5-year bid. My mom had died while he was doing that. And that sucked that he was gone for that long. Well, he got out, and of course he comes to live with, you know, me and my grandmother. Well, I'm shooting dope. It's only a week before my brother's shooting dope. And we put my grandmother through hell. She literally like moved out on us, like left her own apartment in the middle of the night. I swear to God, like took the cats in the bed and was gone. And we were like, what the fuck, you know? So we moved to this trailer park, and at this trailer park, I caught a trafficking charge and sales and possession, but I didn't get arrested yet, you know? And so I had ran into the older gentleman that had shot me up for the first time. And so we started hanging out, whatever. You know, we're not really like together, you know, whatever, but we're together. And then we become official, and then I get pregnant. And I find out about these warrants, and I'm like, I am not having this baby. No way. You know, there's no way in hell I'm having this child. And so therefore, I ended up getting picked up, and I was pregnant, and I was having that baby. And he was there the whole time that I was in county jail, and I got sentenced to 1 year in county jail and 2 years probation. And I gave birth to my first child in county jail with 2 cops in the room. And well, I mean, they took me to the hospital, obviously. But that was hell. I mean, that was like horrible. You know, your first kid. First of all, my mom's not there. She's dead. You know what I mean? And then like, oh my God, I have 2 cops in the room, and I got to hold my son for like 20 minutes, and they took him because I was on methadone, of course, because I couldn't stop doing dope. And then, so 4.5 months later, I get out, and we're going to be a happy family. We're going to be a happy family. This is going to go great. 2 years probation. Everything's going to be wonderful. I get to hold my son, you know, at 4.5 months. Oh my God, this is great. I'm going to be a great mom. Well, they released you at like 5 a.m. or something like that. And by 7:30, I was like drunk off Crown Royal, you know, because I couldn't do anything else. Because of the fact that I was on probation. So I started drinking, you know, and I was drinking a lot, and I was putting the baby down to bed earlier and earlier to drink. And so he put his hands on me, and I took my son and I left. I went to my stepmom's house, and at this time my stepmom and my dad had split up or whatever. And I'd stayed there, but it was just, you know, I had started shooting dope within a couple weeks. And because that's what I'd wanted to do. Like, really, when I got out of jail, I may have said like, I want to be a mom and I want to do this and I love my child. Like, and I believed that. Like, I believed that I loved my child, and I do. Oh my God, I would lay my life down for my kids. I love my children, but the love for that shit takes over, you know? And so for me, it was insane. And he took my son. And DCF never got involved, thank God. But he took my son and he kept him from me. And I ended up going back to jail and went to a halfway house, tried to get clean, blah, blah, the whole story. Well, I ended up going to prison. And I always thought, this is so ridiculous too, okay? But I always thought that like I was too pretty to go to prison. And I'm not even like, my self-esteem is like super low. So that's ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? Like, because there's beautiful women in prison, let me just tell you. I mean, beautiful. So I always thought like I would never go to prison. What? They're never going to send me to prison, you know? Well, they did. They sent me to prison. And I remember feeling so scared, like, I'm going to fucking prison? Like, what? And I didn't even get a long sentence, you know, at all. I got 18 months and I had a bunch of time in. So I ended up doing like 8 months, I think. I'm not really sure. So I go to prison, and that's when like the craziness happens. I get out of prison and I go right back to my son's father, and we're going to be a family again, you know, because that's what we're supposed to do. Well, I immediately picks me up. We're smoking weed. I'm eating these gummies that are like, oh my God, you know, making me so high. Well, for me, in my story, like, I don't want just a taste of that. I've already tasted the best shit ever. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to just smoke weed or eat those gummies and get this little like, okay, that feels good. Like, I want the fucking bang, you know, I want the like falling out of my seat, you know, that's what I want. And so I stayed for a little bit, and I was drinking and smoking and hanging out, but I was secretly like plotting, you know, like, how can I do it? How can I get away with it? You know, he's crazy. He's going to beat my ass, you know, all that, the craziness, you know? So I left him because that's what I wanted to do. And I left my son with him because where was I going to take him? To my grandmother's dining room, because from February 4th to December 22nd, that's when my story was absolutely insane, you know? And I had overdosed 13 times. They had found me in my vehicle several times, OD'd. I wasn't allowed to see my son, which that sucked, you know, and that would be like the fuel to why I was getting high, you know, and I was shooting dope. And I always looked down on people that smoked crack, and I would like pick it up on a Friday night, smoke it for a weekend, put it down, and whatever, I could leave it. And then I was like, let me start smoking crack. And I had this sugar daddy that was literally sending me thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. Like, literally, I'm still to this day banned from Western Union and Walmart to Walmart. I can't receive money. I'm flagged. I got a lot of money from this man. Poor guy. And so what happened is like, I was on a like suicide mission. I wanted to fucking kill myself, you know? Like, my son was now, you know, 2 years old. I'm a dope fiend living in my grandmother's dining room on a futon, you know, sleeping with old men for money. Like, this sucks. This is not a life. I'm barely getting by here. And now I'm smoking crack every single day. So it's the up, it's the down, it's the craziness. And I had a car and I had no license. And so my last week out there, I go to jail, and I was like almost relieved. Like, I was like, okay, yeah, they picked me up. Great. You know, I can sleep. It's been like 12 days since I've slept, you know. Well, I go and they say, hey, roll it up. Roll it up. Where am I going? I'm thinking, what the fuck? Where am I going? And they said, you're going ATW all the way. All the way? No, I'm not. I'm not leaving. You know, what are you talking about? They're like, somebody bonded you out. I had no idea who. Well, of course, a dope boy bonded me out because I was spending way too much money. He couldn't have me in there. You know what I mean? No. So I had overdosed 3 times in that week. And the last time they found me in my car. And the police report sounds real nice. You know, they say I was slumped over my steering wheel. My leg was hanging out of the door, which, like, I'm only 5'4", so I'm short. I don't even think that was possible, to be honest with you. But, I mean, I was, like, brought to the hospital and totally was OD'd. So anyway, so I go to jail, and I was still so, like, fucked up and out of my mind that they ended up putting me in a single cell. So now I'm in this single cell, okay? And with, like, the crazy people, you know, like the real crazy people. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me, man? This sucks, right? Well, I, like, look up and I'm like, God, whatever, the universe, I don't even know. You know what I mean? Like, I don't even know what I'm talking to. So now here I am with the crazy people, but I'm talking to myself, to the sky, you know. I need help. Like, I'm surrendering, like, whatever the fuck I gotta do. Like, I cannot do this shit anymore. You know, like, I cannot live my life like this. Like, I hate looking at myself in the mirror. I hate who I am. I hate what I've done. I fucking, you know, I'm mad that I woke up from this last overdose and I'm in fucking jail, you know? So I go to, oh my God, I can't even think of the name. I go to court the next day, and, the judge is like, oh, because it's so close to Christmas, I'm going to go ahead and reinstate your bond, and I'm going to give you a bond. And I said, Your Honor, if you give me a bond, I'm going to die. Because I knew somebody would bond me out, you know. And I said, you have to revoke my bond, and you can't do that. I'm going to die. And I think that was the moment that I surrendered completely. Like, for me to say, like, don't give me a bond, like, I'm going to stay in jail, that's not me. You know what I mean? At all. And that's what I did. And that was the shortest sentence I have ever done. And it was 38 days. And it was the most spiritually fit that I had ever gotten. And I had watched the movie The Secret. And I had actually, so I missed a bunch of my story. I met my husband. We weren't married then, obviously. And we ran for a little bit together, but he's real crazy when he smokes crack. And I'm, no, thank you. So he ended up going to jail. But the first night him and I hung out, we prayed together. So, like, he asked me, he said, do you believe in God? And I said, I believe in, you know, something out there. Yeah, there's definitely something bigger than me, you know. And so he said, do you want to pray? And I thought, like, oh God, he's gonna, you know, he's one of those that smokes crack and pulls out the Bible and is, you know, now a preacher, you know, but he wasn't, you know. And we prayed together, and it was crazy how that happened. And so fast forward, I'm in jail, and I watched The Secret. Well, he was also in jail, and 2 hours before he got released, he had got a postcard from me. And so when he got to the halfway house, he wrote me a letter, gave me his phone number, blah, blah. So I call him, and he says, look, I'm going to have this guy come to court for you. Like, he's super involved. You know what I mean? I'm going to have him come to court for you. And I really think he's going to do it. And I'm like, no way. There's no way. Like, I just got released from prison 7 months ago, and I'm on 5 felonies. It was 5 felonies and 3 misdemeanors. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm definitely going back to prison. And I was totally content with the fact that, like, I was going back to prison. Well, I'll be damned. I watched The Secret, and I wrote ATW all the way. And I wrote January 30th, and I put it under my pillow, and that was it. I was like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to fucking stay clean. I'm going to stay away from the dope. I'm going to fucking change my life. And that's just what's going to happen. And so I'll be damned if I call my husband, Dane is his name, and I call him and I say, hey, and he goes, Mike's coming to court for you. And I'm like, what? No way, right? So we go to court, and this guy's standing there. I've never met this man, and God rest his soul. He did pass away recently, and that man saved a lot of people's lives, and I love him to death. And make me cry. He showed up to court for me, and he talked on my behalf. Never fucking met me a day in my life, and he spoke like he knew me, you know? So the judge looked at me and he said, young lady, why should I give you this opportunity? Like, you just I just sentenced you to prison not that long ago, you know? And I said, Your Honor, I've never once in my life wanted to do this. Like, I've never once wanted to stay clean. I've never once wanted to actually fucking try. You know what I mean? Like, I never wanted to try. I always half-assed everything. So he said, all right, I'm going to give you 30 days. Or I said, give me 30 days give me enough rope to hang myself. Give me enough rope to hang myself. You know, give me 30 days. So he said, you're not allowed to get a job for 30 days and you have to focus on your recovery, and that's fine. I'll see you in 30 days. And I was like, what the fuck just happened? You know what I mean? Like, holy shit. So this guy, Mike, picks me up, and all these people are saying like, oh, Mike, they know who Mike is. You know what I mean? And he looks at me and he says, you're a fucking menace to society. He said, I thought you were some, you know, poor girl that caught a couple of charges. He said, I didn't know you were a fucking convict. I'm like, yeah, Dane probably left that part of the story out. You know, I don't know. And we went to a meeting, and I got to see my husband, who wasn't my husband then. And that was the beginning of my amazing fucking life today. And so from there, I mean, you know, I have worked 12 steps. I do believe in a power greater than myself. I have had, like, the last almost 4 years, it's like a book. If I wrote, like, it doesn't even seem real to me at all. You know, like, it's not fucking real. So I had to stay in a halfway house for 6 months, and so did my husband. So we did that, and he relapsed. I had like 4.5 months clean, and he relapsed. And I acted like a complete psychopath and chased him down and found out what hotel he was at, and, you know, tried kicking down the door and whatever. But he went back the next day, and he has been sober and clean ever fucking since. So yay. So yeah. And him and I moved in together, and I was allowed to have a relationship with my son. His father, it started out slow, you know, because, like I said, DCF never got involved or anything. And his dad started letting me, you know, see him more and more and more. And now we have 50-50 custody, or we do 50-50. And when Dane and I moved in together, Dane obviously didn't have kids, right? So I remember Halloween, we're carving pumpkins, and my son, who was 3 at the time, takes the little pumpkin carver and says, I'm going to kill you to Dane. And I thought, ooh, this might not work out. You know what I mean? Like, ooh, okay, maybe, you know, I don't know. But it did. And things have went really fast for us. My husband started a business in floor remodeling. He's also a musician. He sings. We have a studio. We have a showroom. We sell LVP, blah, blah. Like, we're very busy people. I went back to school. And so I ended up finding out I was pregnant. Dun, dun, dun. I didn't want any more kids at all. Like, not even a little bit. And I was literally journaling. My husband was at a men's meeting, and I'm journaling like, God, why am I being such a bitch? I still have the journal. And I'm like, you know what? I got some Dollar Tree pregnancy tests. Let me go take them. And what? I was like, oh, hell no. So my husband comes home, and he says, I said, I got to go to Walgreens to get face wash. He's like, you don't even wash your face at night. What do you mean? I'm like, no, I got to go. You know, he's like, it's 10 o'clock at night. What? And I'm like, listen, I got to go get a pregnancy test. And he was thrilled, and I'm not thrilled. So we're in the bathroom, and I got 3 of them that are all different. So I'm peeing. We're together in our tiny little bathroom, and I'm passing them to him, and we're waiting. They all show positive, but we're waiting on this digital one. Boop, 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 boop. And it says yes. And I'm like, no. And he's like, yes. And I'm like, no. Like, oh my God, no way, no way. You know, because we weren't married. You know, I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to have like 2 baby daddies, whatever, all that shit. Well, I was like, we're not married. I don't want to have another kid out of wedlock. Yeah, right. Because I'm so like fucking whatever. So anyway, so he did propose to me and he had it planned out. And he called my sponsor and he said, I'm just going to do it right now. And she was like, you better not. You've planned this out for months. You better not. She can fucking wait, you know? And on our 1-year anniversary, he did. He proposed to me and it was amazing. And then we had my son, Grayson, and that was an amazing experience from going to having 1 kid in jail and 1 kid with, you know, your fiance next to you and so much support around you. And I know I'm like running out of time here, but that was an amazing experience. Do I want another kid? No. My husband does. So I'm just saying, no, I don't. But today, like, I fluctuate with, you know, my life. There's days where I'm fucking on top of the world and I'm so happy and I feel great, you know, and then there's days that I'm like, you know, a little sad or whatever. Like, I don't know, it's ups and downs, but I know like if I'm spiritually fit, I know that like today, because like that's all I have is fucking today. I know that I'm going to try my best to be the best person that I can be. And, like Bethany said, like I try to show up for people, you know, and that's something that I fucking do. I show the fuck up, you know, even when I don't want to, because a lot of times I don't want to. I don't want to. I want to stay in my fucking comfy bed with my husband and my fucking kids and my dog who's a pain in the ass. But, you know, but I do. I show up. And so October was probably the hardest month of my sobriety. Like literally, I'm not even kidding you. One of my sponsees, she thought she could go back out one more time and handle it, you know, and she fucking overdosed. And her boyfriend was in a different state and he called me, Alex, where are you? Are you busy? No, I'm not. What's up? I need you to go to the house. There's paramedics there. I don't know what's going on. She's not answering the phone, blah, blah, blah. So, okay. You know, I throw the kids in the car and then I'm like, shit, my kids. Oh my God. I call my best friend. I'm like, dude, I got to drop the kids off. I'll explain fucking later. You know what I mean? She's like, no problem. And, you know, I was there and I prayed over her body and I held her hand and I said, I promise that I will help, you know, be there for your son. You know, she left a 7.5-month-old little boy behind. And that's how this shit ends for me. That's how this shit ends for a lot of us. You know what I'm saying? Is like that one more time, like, damn, nobody will know that one more time. That's how it ends. You know what I mean? And for me today, like the reality is that happened October 9th and October 13th, my husband and I got to close on a fucking home. You know what I mean? Like, and that was hard to paint the face on and like, oh my God, be excited. Like, yes, hell yeah. Like we just bought a fucking house. Like we are both like, he's been to prison twice. I've been to prison. We're both, I mean, shit, the felonies between us, you know, I mean, it's a lot. And we're homeowners, business owners, like I can't even say successful, but we're successful people today. And if somebody met me, like they would not know that 4.5 years ago, I was 103 fucking pounds and I would rob you blind and I would steal anything you fucking had if it was, you know, dope. If you had dope, I was fucking taking it. And like the complete scumbag that I was, because that's what I was. I was a complete scumbag. And today I'm not. Like today I show up for people and I've never had, you know, like my mom passing away and I didn't really get into like all the overdoses and deaths and all that. But I've stayed in the same area, my entire life. And I have lost so many people. It's constant, you know, it's absolutely constant and it breaks my fucking heart. And I try to tell people like, there's a way out. There's a way out. Like, and that's why I am very loud with my, my recovery. I'm very loud. anybody that knows me knows I'm in recovery. And I know some people are like really like quiet about it. Like, oh no, I don't want my coworkers to know. And me, I'm like, hold up. Like, here comes Alex. I'm in recovery. You know what I mean? Like, I know that you're fucked up right now. Girl, there's fucking a way out. I can help. You know what I'm saying? And that's the shit. Because if women didn't do that for me, like, I wouldn't be sitting here. Because back when my husband relapsed, like, if the woman that I hadn't built relationships with fucking held on to me and said, like, you got this, you can do this, like, I'm not sure that I'd be sitting here today, you know? And that's the shit, man. Like, I don't know. I know that I was like all over the place because I was super fucking nervous, but I hope I at least helped one person or whatever. I don't even know. I know that this helped me and this was a great experience for me. Because dude, like, this is the shit. Like, this is fucking awesome, you know? And this way of life, like the way that I feel, and yeah, my self-esteem I'm still working on it. You know what I mean? But like, I'm a married woman, like, and I had a fucking dream wedding. Like, are you kidding me? Somebody wanted to marry me. Like, y'all, I was not wifey material. Okay. Let's just say that. You know what I'm saying? Like, at all. Okay. Like, no. And somebody wanted to marry me. I'm like, are you sure? Even like a wedding, like, you sure about that? You know? And the reality is, like, yeah, he did. And we're married and we just bought a house and and he treats my son like his son. You would walk into our house and you would never fucking know that he wasn't blood. And that's like amazing because not many fucking people can do that. You know what I mean? And I am a great wife today, you know? I mean, I'm a brat, but whatever. And I am a good friend today. I show up when I need to show up. And I am who I am unapologetically today. And that's all I have. Thank you. Thank you.
So good. Thank you so much for sharing that. I relate to a ton of what you talked about. What town do you live in? I'm just curious.
So we just moved to Seminole, but I like grew up in Dunedin, but Pinellas County.
Oh, not too far. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm South Tampa, born and raised. But yeah, your comments are absolutely blown up. I was trying to keep up with all of them. But yeah, I mean, just everybody sharing that, you know, you're an inspiration. Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you for your transparency. You know, some of the things you talked about, like, you recover out loud, and we share that on our page all the time. We recover out loud so people don't suffer or die in silence. And
right.
It's a decision I made early on, and it was tough in the beginning because I was in a position that I worked myself from like the equivalent of a day laborer up to upper management, and I'm sharing this stuff, all my recovery stuff. I'm speaking in public, and I'm like, you know, it is what it is. It's more important to me to do this than it is to impress my boss or whatever else it may be. This is important. So thank you so much for doing this and bearing all of it, and also doing it really well.
Oh, thank you. Yay. I did that with my boss too. So I said I lived in a 7-bedroom house. I 7-bedroom house. I had roommates, and then I got my roommate hired, and then we're like, yeah, well, we share a room. You have 7 bedrooms and you share a room, and I'm like, okay. And then my PO's like, look, I got a call, and I'm like, shit. And I'm like, all right, here's the deal.
Mm-hmm.
Let's sit down. So, and I just laid it out, and they were so cool. They were like, what? You know, they were from Canada. They're like, there's no way. How? Oh my God. And they would love my stories. I'd tell them about me flinging off the stripper pole, and they're like, no way. And I'm like, no, it really happened. Like, that's true. And
the biggest compliment too, when somebody can't picture you, the only way we picture ourselves, or at least
right.
Like, no matter how far away I get from that mess, in my mind, I'm kind of still that mess. You know, when somebody's like, oh man, you're such a great guy. I'm like, who?
Right.
Then I remember I busted my ass to get to a point where I can take that compliment. Get on here, Bethany. We want to talk to you too. She's muted.
Sorry.
Oh yeah, and our daughter's birthday is the same as your birthday. She's a Friday the 13th.
And July 13th, Friday.
Yes! I love it. I love it. Oh my God, that's so awesome. I love it. Oh, yes. She's special. I love her already.
And she's definitely special.
Yeah.
You were describing her cheerleading in front of the TV.
Oh, yeah.
She's the queen. Like that is her.
Yep.
Hey,
Well-
her girl has the same birthday as you.
Come here. Oh, she's gonna make a pouty face.
Oh.
She's tired. She's too cool to be on here with us. This is Maya.
Hi.
Birthday as you.
We have the same birthday, and it's Friday the 13th. That makes us like really special
Isn't that cool?
and lucky.
She's like, yeah, I gotta go to bed.
Like, whatever. That was me.
So honestly, thank you so much also, Bethany, for coming on and doing the introduction. We truly appreciate it. It's awesome when a friend will come on and do that.
Yeah, I'm really glad you could have us on.
Yeah. Thank
you.
you.
So I'm gonna read a few of the comments at the end. There's far too many for me to.
We shared it a lot.
Oh yeah, I was popping them on there over and over again. I was trying to get you to laugh, but you got into your story. But some of them were great.
The one, my brother, I was like, oh God, no, he took me totally off focus.
Oh, here's a long one. Here, let me see. Missy Thing says, although I understand why you said it, I've said it about myself. Addiction or behaviors in addiction don't make any of us scumbags. This is a disease, a sickness. Forgive yourself. Speak highly of yourself. Always, even when speaking of your past, own your shit, but remember too, you were sick. Embrace the good, the bad, the ugly. Self-love. You're amazing. Thank you for sharing your story. And I'm bad about my wife is a social worker and she runs a coalition and she's like, you got to change the language and I'll share my story. And I'm like, I'm just a junkie and I'm just I know. It's at least that's how I look at myself back then. I don't, I may have been sick, but I did some sick shit,
No, and as soon as I said it, because I'm actually talking to my therapist about like verbiage and stuff like that. And as soon as I said it, I thought, ooh, she'd be mad at me for that. So, and I do appreciate that because that is true. And that is that self-critic, it gets ugly and then, then you feel ugly. So I appreciate that comment.
It sounds like you've got a beautiful life and you've come a very long way. So, I'm proud of you. And it sounds like a whole bunch of people on here are proud of you as well. I mean, this is, you've steadily had like 40 to 45 people glued to this the entire time. So that's pretty good for the live. And then when we repost it, you get a bunch more. But that is a solid following. It looks like you got some good friends on here. I'm gonna have to. We used to go to Pinellas all the time for meetings, so we'll have to start making trips back down to Pinellas.
Yeah.
Yes, do come to Pinellas.
Yeah.
Well, we used to go. I don't know, what is this?
Warehouse?
Monday night speakers.
Oh yeah, St. Pete.
We used to go to St. Pete all the time, and we used to go to the Warehouse Club in Dunedin meeting.
Yeah.
We'll have to hit you up, and when Nate gets back, and get the Hope Shop people and come down and see you.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
All right. If you guys want to close with anything, I think that's about it.
That's it. Thank you. I
Thank
appreciate
you so
this
much.
opportunity. This was definitely an amazing opportunity for sure.
All right, guys. Well, again, thank you so much. Thank you, everybody that tuned in. Don't forget, we are live Sunday nights at 8 p.m. for our topics. And, of course, every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. for Addiction to Success. If you hit interested or going on the events when they're posted, you will get a reminder before each time that we go live. So I suggest doing that so you don't miss anything. And everybody have a wonderful night.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.